children, how are you doing? I hope you all are fine. And we have the new topic today, contacts with distant lands. So what will be the in learning part? There will be that we have to learn about today Northwest India and foreign invasions and new kingdoms emergence in the south. तो इसके बारे में आज हम पढ़ने वाले हैं. चलिए, let's begin. Indian traders, scholars and missionaries spread the Indian philosophy, religion, art and architecture to distant lands. Similarly, foreign traders and scholars came to India and carried with them the rich and varied culture of their land. Military adventures to have been a major factor in cultural exchange between India and foreign countries. The following factors have been responsible for motivating cultural contacts between India and foreign countries. तो क्या है वो? Number 1 is trade. Yes, सबसे पहला है बच्चों आपका व्यापार, trade. History testifies to the fact that India had trade relations with the Western countries as far as back as 4,500 years ago. During the period of the Indus Valley civilization, India had trade relations with the people of Babylonia and other contemporary civilizations. Subsequently, the Mauryas, Kushanas, Guptas, Shakas, Stavanahas and Cholas, Cheras, Pandyas, Palwas and Cholukyas encouraged foreign trade. इन सब ने व्यापार जो विदेशी व्यापार को बढ़ावा दिया. Military conquest, military adventures to have been a major factor in cultural exchanges between India and foreign countries during the Mauryan period, 4th century BC, and even earlier. Earlier India and cultural interaction with the Greek civilization when the Greeks invaded India. Subsequently, the Bactrian, Greek and Parthian invasions brought the two cultures closer to the Indian culture. Sometimes adventurous princes sailed to distant lands and established kingdoms as in Indo-China. Missionary activities. India is a land of various religions. The Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism along with their numerous sects have been prevalent here. Buddhist missionaries particularly spread the Indian culture to various countries like Sri Lanka, China, Central Asia and Southeast Asia. It is however worth noting that the Hindu culture did not spread in the wake of a world conquering king. India did not enforce her culture aggressively. Her world conquest was the conquest of truth and the noble ideals. And the empire that India built overseas and overland was conquered by pity and the spiritual energy. Indian colonial empire differed fundamentally from those of the Western nations. The Indian rulers never exploited their colonies in Southeast Asia. Northwest India and foreign invasions. That is, after the decline of the Mauryan Empire, many foreign tribes invaded India from the northwestern area. The Indo-Greeks to the Bactrian Greeks. The Indo-Greeks or the Bactrian Greeks were the descendants of the Greek generals who ruled over Bactria, and which is Balka, and Parthia, modern Persia, that is Herat, Samarkand and Khwarizm. That is, among the Greek rulers, Demetrius, Menander, Helioclus, etc. were notable. Menander was the most powerful Greek king. He is known as Milind in the Buddhist scriptures, and he conquered the Indian territories up to Kathiawar and Braj. His empire stretched from Afghanistan to Mathura, and he embraced Buddhism. Greek influence on India. The Greek, referred to as Yavanas in Indian literature, were a highly cultured people. They left their influence on Indian life and society in many ways, especially in the field of astronomy. coinage and sculpture. The Greek were in fact the originator of the Gandhar school of art, and the Greek dramas also influenced Indian drama. Some of the Indo-Greek kings worshipped Lord Vishnu. वहाँ के जो ग्रीक किंग्स हैं वो इनकी विष्णु जी की पूजा भी किया करते थे. एंड देयर स्टे इन इंडिया ब्रॉट अबाउट अ हेल्दी एक्सचेंज ऑफ नॉलेज एंड आइडियाज़ बिटवीन द ग्रीक्स एंड द इंडियंस. तो ये हेल्दी एक्सचेंज था, right? The Sakas during the 2nd century BC, the Sakas were a nomadic tribe of Central Asia, and they conquered large part of the Indo-Greek territories. The Saka rulers called themselves as Kshatraps, and they established their rule in various parts of India, for example in Takshashila, Mathura, Nasik and Ujjain. Rudradaman of Ujjain was the most powerful Saka ruler who assumed the title of Mahakshatrap, and he resisted the expansion of the Satavahanas to the north of Narmada river. And Indo-Parthians were by the 1st century AD. The Indo-Parthians were also called the Pahalavas, a tribe in Central Asia, occupied Bactria. Mayus 90 BC to 70 BC was the first Parthian ruler in India who held the Swat Valley and Gandhar in northwestern India. But the most powerful Pahalava ruler is Gondo Ferenis, 20 to 41 AD. The Pahalava rule was short-lived, and it overthrown by the Kushanas. The Kushanas, these were a nomadic tribe of Central Asia. It was a branch of the Yuzji tribe of the Chinese Turkestan, and under the leadership of Kujulu Kedpises, they left their home and captured Bactria and Parthia. According to the Chinese historians Sumachian, Kuisang, later known as Kushasanas, and marched into India and established their rule in Kabul and Kashmir. Later on, they crossed the Indus River and occupied Takshashila and Punjab. Kanishka was the greatest of the Kushana king, and he ascended the throne in 120 AD. He conquered Kashmir and snatched Punjab and Mathura from the Sakas and occupied certain parts of Magad. He defeated the Chinese general Pan Chiang and annexed Kashgar, Khotan and Yarkand. His empire extended from Bactria in the north to Ujjain in the south, and from Banaras in the east to Afghanistan in the west. He made Purushpur, modern Peshawar, as his capital. The Kushana Empire held a strategic location between China in the east and Parthia in the west, as at this time the Roman Empire was rising in the west. So the Romans wanted friendship with the Kushanas, who controlled the famous silk route of China. As a result, northwestern India developed into the most important trade center of that period. Did you know Kanishka started an era in 78 AD, which is now known as the Saka Samvat and is used by the government of India. So now Kushana's influence of India, it flourished in Mathura during the reign of Kanishka, and it was purely Indian in spirit as well as in style. Images of Buddha and Bodhisattvas were made in his style. The headless statue of Kanishka is a unique example of the Mathura school of art. Let's do it, bacho. Forming groups of two each have a debate on the topic foreign invasions. One team may talk about the ill effects of such invasions, while the other may talk about the benefits. You may use the historical invasions you read in this chapter to support your arguments, as well as the contemporary incidents. Ask the teacher to provide clues, right? Now, new kingdoms in the south during the period when people from distant lands settled in northern India. South India was ruled by many dynasties. So now let's read about the Cholas. The Cholas kingdom was situated between the Pennar and the Vellore rivers and was popularly known as Chola Mandalam. Its chief center of political power was Orayur, a place famous for its cotton trade. In the 2nd century BC, a Chola ruler named Ilara conquered Sri Lanka and ruled there for about 50 years. And the most powerful Chola king was Karaikala. He fought against the Cheras and the Pandyas and even attacked Sri Lanka and occupied a part of it. He constructed many roads and encouraged trade with other regions. Okay, Puhar or Kaveri Patnam was an important port city during this period. I hope आपने note किया होगा इनका नाम. The Cheras, these were also known as Kerala Putras, who ruled over parts of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Vanchi was their capital, and Udayan Cherala was the first king of this dynasty. The most powerful Chera ruler was Senagutavana, and he defeated all his enemies, built a strong navy and gave patronage to poets and writers. The Pandyas, these controlled the region around Madurai. According to the Megasthenes, the kingdom was ruled by a woman who had a large army. One of her successors, Nadun Chejihan, was a successful warrior. He is said to have defeated both the Cholas and the Cheras. And he was also a patron of arts and literature. The third Sangam at Madurai was probably held when he was the king. Now let's talk about Stavahanas. These, also known as Andhras, ruled the Deccan for nearly 300 years. Pratisthana, a modern Patan and Patan in Maharashtra, was their capital. Some powerful rulers were Sri Satakarni and Vishishtputra Pulumai and Yajna Sri Satakarni and Gautami Putra Sri Satakarni, the most powerful of them all. He fought against the other kingdoms and enlarged his empire. The Satavahanas established a powerful empire and continuous military conflicts, especially against the Shakas, however, gradually weakened them. Eventually, the empire broke up into many smaller kingdoms. So, क्या हुआ? छोटे-छोटे राज्यों में बट गया ये. Spread of religion. The spread of trade is closely related to the spread of religion to distant lands. All the foreign travelers who came to India brought in their faith that and ideologies, and the same reached with the Indian travelers traveling to distant lands. Did you know in early periods Vaishnavism was known as Bhagavatism? Let's talk about now Buddhism. During the Sanghakarnva period, Buddhism suffered a minor setback as the rulers of both these dynasties followed by Brahmanical faith. During the time of Indo-Greeks and Kushanas, Buddhism gained a strong foothold as many of their rulers adopted Buddhism. During Kanishka's rule, Buddhism reached a supreme position. Taxila, Mathura, Benares and Nalanda emerged as centers of Buddhist learning. In the south, the Stavanaha kings, patronized Buddhism and built many stupas. They regularly gave gifts to the Buddhists. And in the south, Nagarjunakonda and Amravati were the famous centers of Buddhism. Buddhism also spread towards Southeast Asia to Sri Lanka, Thailand, Myanmar and Indonesia. Here the original form of Buddhism, Theravada Buddhism was more powerful, that was more popular. Shaivism and Vaishnavism, that was the concept of bhakti, emerged were individual deities with like Shiva and Vishnu become a central figure of Hinduism. During the period after the Mauryas, the bhakti of such gods lead to the emergence of Shaivism, devotion of Shiva, and Vaishnavism, devotion of Vishnu. So Shaivism was quite popular in the Deccan, and the Tamil Sangam Vox referred to Shiva as the greatest of all gods, Mudalvan, that the followers of Vaishnavism identified with various incarnations of Vishnu and worshipped them. In the south, the devotees of Lord Shiva were called the Nayanars, and those of Lord Vishnu, the Alvars. In the north, they were known as Shivas and Vaishnavas. Okay, let's do it. Do some research and find out about the cultures of the Cheras and Pandyas. And while doing this, have fun. है ना. और एक्सरसाइज क्या करेंगे, अभी हम एक्सरसाइज पर काम करेंगे. क्या है हमारी एक्सरसाइज में, हमें एक करेक्ट ऑप्शन चूज करना होता है. तो टिक द करेक्ट आंसर इन नंबर 1, इन नंबर 2 फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स. तो हम तो चैप्टर थॉरली पढ़ के आए हैं, आप देखिए कौन से वर्ड मिस है इसमें. और नंबर 3, ट्राई ट्रू और फॉल्स. तो जानिए कौन से स्टेटमेंट आपके चैप्टर के अकॉर्डिंग गलत है और कौन से सही है. Number 4 and 5, you have answers the questions. You have to answer some questions in number 4 briefly, and in number 5 you have to give in detail. So जो brief में आप आंसर करेंगे वो आप short में 3-4 lines में आंसर कीजिए, और डिटेल वाले आपको पूरा एक्सप्लेन करना है. And in skills enrichment zone, fun activities there, divide the class into 3-4 groups and hold a group discussion on the topic importance of sea trade between any two countries. Map work आपके पास है. On an outline map of Asia, draw the Silk Route, and on an outline map of Asia, locate the places, countries the Buddhism separate to. Out of the box है आपके पास, how did the trading with the West in ancient times benefit India? And while doing this, have fun. Enjoy, my dear children.